Brocéliande Forest, the Valley of No Return. Deep inside France lies a forest where legends say people can lose more than their way home. Brocéliande, a beautiful ancient forest surrounded by mist, lakes, and towering trees. But hidden inside it is a place with a terrifying name, the Valley of No Return. Legend says that once you enter its darkness, the forest may decide whether you are allowed to leave. For centuries, Brocéliande has been connected with the legends of King Arthur, Merlin, and the mysterious enchantress Morgan le Fay. And among its most famous legends is the story of the Valley of No Return. According to folklore, Morgan created the valley as a place where unfaithful lovers could become trapped. But there is something even more unsettling about the legend. People say the forest doesn't always feel the same. One moment, the trees are peaceful. The next, the entire forest seems to fall completely silent. One evening, a young adult woman named Claire, around 28 years old, was walking near the edge of the valley as daylight disappeared. She wore a dark jacket and jeans and carried a small flashlight. The last sunlight disappeared behind the trees. Then, Claire noticed something strange. A narrow path seemed to appear between the ancient trees. She followed it for only a few minutes. Suddenly, her flashlight flickered, then went completely dark. Claire stopped. There was no wind, no birds, no insects, nothing. Then she heard footsteps behind her. One step, pause. Another step. She turned around. Nobody was there. She hurried forward, but the path suddenly became slippery. Her foot caught between two wet roots, and she fell hard onto the forest floor. Her flashlight rolled several feet away. As she reached for it, she noticed something impossible. Her own shadow was moving in the opposite direction. Claire froze. The shadow kept moving. Then, from somewhere deep inside the trees, came a faint sound. Someone laughing using Claire's own voice. She turned toward the darkness. Nothing was there. But when she looked down again, there were two sets of footprints beside hers. One belonged to Claire. The other appeared to be following her. Then she heard a woman's voice whisper from somewhere among the trees. "Turn back." Claire slowly raised her head. A few feet ahead stood a pale female figure in an old-fashioned dress. The figure didn't move. Claire took one step backward. The figure disappeared. Then something much worse happened. The path behind Claire was no longer there. Only dense trees surrounded her. She ran toward where she thought the entrance had been, but every turn brought her back to the same ancient tree, its trunk marked by a strange, twisted branch. She passed it once, then again and again. It was as if the forest had become a circle. Darkness completely covered the valley. Claire suddenly heard rushing water. She ran toward the sound and stopped at the edge of a steep, slippery ravine. One more step could have sent her falling into the darkness below. She backed away. Then she noticed something on the opposite side. A woman in white was standing completely motionless between the trees. The figure slowly raised one hand and pointed toward a narrow trail. Claire followed the direction. Behind her came a whisper. "You shouldn't have come here." She turned. Nothing. When she looked forward again, the woman was gone, but the trail was suddenly visible. Claire followed it and eventually saw the distant glow of village lights beyond the trees. She escaped. But according to the legend, the forest had not necessarily finished with her. Today, the Valley of No Return remains one of Brocéliande's most mysterious, legendary locations. The forest is beautiful, but its stories are anything but peaceful. And perhaps that's what makes Brocéliande so frightening. You never know where the legend ends and your imagination begins. Would you enter the Valley of No Return after sunset? Comment yes or no. Subscribe now for more haunted legends, dark history, and terrifying mysteries from around the world. Like this video, tap the bell icon, and share it with someone brave enough to enter France's darkest forest.